Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got another unboxing and first impressions video for you. About 10 days ago I placed an order with Goulet Pens in the US, and a week later it arrived here in Australia. Inside that box was this pen here. This is from Benu. It's the first time I've owned a Benu pen, so I'm really interested to see how it goes. Now I did a little bit of digging into Benu. And Benu, it was only founded in 2016, so it's a fairly new manufacturer. The company takes its name from the Benu bird, which is one of the first incarnations of the phoenix. So it's all about rebirth and restarting. It also takes inspiration from the ancient Egyptian deity, also called Benu. And again, that's all about rebirth. So I like the idea of reimagining what pens should be. And I think from looking at the photos that I've seen, that's what Benu does. So join me now down on the mat. Let's take a look at what's in the box. We'll fill the pen with ink and we'll do a writing sample. Welcome down to the mat. So let's fetch in the box. Here we go. This is the packaging that the Benu pens come in, and I think it's brilliant. It's just a simple cardboard box. We've got a little bit of fancy on the top there. Let's just turn around. We can see we've got the barcode for the pen, and that's it. It's a really plain, simple box. So if you want to recycle it, that's going to be nice and easy. Let's take the lid off. It's nice and stiff. So in there, we've got this sleeve, the Benu sleeve. Let's just pop that out. The pen should be in there. Also, we've got quite a long cartridge. Pop that to one side. We've got some details about the pen. Well, there we are. We now know it's a Dragon's Blood pen. I'm going to put that to one side to read later. I think this is a really nice little touch to give some history about where they got the name from. What else have we got? We've got our product information and our lifetime warranty. Then there's just some paper filling. So really minimalistic. There's not a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be in there. And I like that. I think it's a really good idea. Okay, let's take a look what's in this wrapper. Just going to open both sides again, nice and simple. Nice simple box here. Going to stick my finger in there to push the pen out. And here it comes. It says, it doesn't want to come out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. And there's the pen, the Benu Talisman, which is the model, and Dragon's Blood, which is the colouring. Just fetching a pen stand, and slowly let's rotate this and take a look at this pen. This is absolutely gorgeous. You've got that sparkly red, which is I'm supposed to be the blood. You've got that sparkly green, which I'm also supposing should be the dragon's scale. Then you've got that bit of black as well, which really fetches out both of those colours. Absolutely amazing. Really like the look of this already. Let's take a quick look through the pen. So at the top here, it's slightly domed at the top. Again, that material is going all the way around, so there's nothing stuck in there. It just looks like it's one continuous piece of plastic. And then we come down the clip. I like the silver colour, and look at that. That's so easy to operate. Into the cap, well, down to where the clip attaches into the cap, that seems to be tapering out and it's round. But then when we get into the cap itself, it's got, I want to say facets, but they're not like facets I would see on most pens where it's going all the way down. These feel like there's a number of different facets. So we've got one facet here, then we've got a band, then we've got another facet which is slightly offset. So it just adds in that little bit more interest. Hopefully, as I spin this round, you can see. So here's the band where my finger is, which is where the facets change. I think it's really cleverly done. Below the faceted material, we've got at the bottom, it's just, well, again, faceted, but this is just plain black now. It's got the word Benu. And again, I'm just going to spin that around. So the cap comes off in half, 1, 1.5, 2, but I would say about 2.25 turns. Personally, I'd like it to be maybe 1.5 at most, but 2.25, it's livable. So if we take off the cap now and reveal this absolutely gorgeous nib, just look at that. So the nib is silver coloured, and by looking at it, I'm going to say it's a number 6 size nib. On here, we've got that nice decorative border. Underneath that, we've got the breather hole. Below the breather hole, we've got a bee inside some scroll work. And then below that, we've got Schmidt iridium point. So a good quality nib as well. The nib leads down into the section. At the bottom of the section, there is a bit of a lip, which will help to guide your fingers. I hold my pen fairly low down anyway. At the moment, it's not feeling like it's digging in, but as I do more writing, I'll get a better idea of that. The section then, it's going down very slightly concave, and I mean very, very slightly. Then it comes out. We then get to the threads. Again, because of how I hold a pen, the threads don't get in my way. Let's take off the body. Inside, we've got a converter. Again, I like pens that come with converters. I'm just going to slowly twist that down then up. That works really smoothly. Pop the body back on. Pop the cap back on. Coming down into the body, again, it's faceted, but similar to the cap, we've got one facet here. We've got an offset facet here. And then we've got, I'm going to say, a smooth end. So there doesn't feel to be any facets on this end of the pen. Let me slowly turn this round. I like the way that the facets are offset. You know, as I said, most pens, the facets go the full length of the body. But by having it in that different format, I think it just helps a little bit with the interest for the pen. And I like interesting pens. Really like the look of this on my first impression. Just going to swap pen stands. So let's do some size comparisons. The first pen I'm going to fetch in is the Pilot Metropolitan and also the Lamy Safari. I'm trying to use these two pens in all my videos just so we get an idea of some standard pens which most people either have or they've seen. And size-wise, these all look very similar. Let's take off the caps. So there's the Metropolitan. There's the Benu. There's the Lamy. So definitely, if I line these up at the end with my finger, the Benu slightly longer, but it does have a bigger nib. And if we actually ignore the nib, well, they all look very similar size again. Will they post? Yes. Yes. And will the Benu post? Yes, it does. Fairly securely as well. It does feel a little bit long in my hand when it's posted. Hopefully there we can get a better view of that. So pop them down next to each other, line them up, and the Benu wants to run away. There we go, lined up. So posted, definitely the Metro is the shortest, but between the Safari and the Benu, I would say roughly they're the same size. I'm going to take out these two and fetch in another two pens. So the first one I'm fetching in is a Visconti Breeze. This was $163. The second one is a Conklin All-American. This is in the Golden Walnut limited edition colour. That one was $166. And the Benu was $167. So all within the same price range. Doesn't the Benu look bright compared to the other two? I like the wood. I love the colouring of the Breeze. I really do like that. The Benu just takes it to another level, doesn't it? Let me take off the caps so we can see them unposted. So unposted, the Benu here, definitely a longer pen. Then we get the Conklin, and then the shortest of the three, that's the Visconti. Let me just get this so we can see the nibs. So the Benu and the Conklin, they both look like they've got number 6 nibs, whereas the Visconti, it's got that smaller nib. Let's pop the caps on. So there's Visconti. There's the Conklin. And then we have the Benu. So with the caps on, again, they're very similar in size, but I would say the Benu, it is just slightly shorter. I'm now going to step away from the desk and I'm going to give the pen a good clean out. When I come back, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the ink, fill the pen, do a writing sample, then I'll give you my first impressions. So here I am back. I've given the pen a clean through. I like to give the pens a clean just to make sure that any debris from manufacturing or any excess oil, that's all got rid of. Let's take a look at the ink that I'm going to use. Well, I had to have a think about this. I wanted an ink that would fetch out one of the colours of the pen. And, well, I picked on green. And then I also wanted a pen that was named, I'm going to say, a little bit like the pen. So the pen's called Dragon's Blood. So to me, a dragon, that's a mythical beast. So I thought, well, what other mythical named inks have I got? And I decided on this one. This is by Diamine. It was in the blue ink vent from 2019. And this is called Elf. So I thought, well, elves, dragons. I personally read a lot of fantasy books and you often get dragons and elves in them. So I thought, well, name-wise, we've got a good match as well. Let me just fetch the pen in so we can see the green with this. I think the green in the pen, yes, it looks like it's a bit brighter. But I do think that ink is going to look quite nice in there. Let's fill the pen. Let's remove my paper for a second. So here's my bottle. As I said, this is a large bottle because it's all you can buy now for these ink vent ones. As you can see, it's Elf. Let's take the cap off. Let's get into the pen. So there we are, the converter all the way down the bottom. Dip that in. And let's fill this up. So on the first single fill, we're virtually full there. So I'm going to leave it at that. Just going to clean off the pen. Let's get the ink bottle out of the way. And I'll fetch back in the notepad. Here we go. So for my writing test, as usual, using the black and red notepad with the Oxford Optic paper in it. So let's get in and let's write. So we've got here a Benu. Well, this isn't a good start, is it? Let me just try this on some other paper for a second. So what I've done is I've ended up priming the feed. Let's see if we're right now. So what have we got? We've got the Benu Talisman. In Dragon's Blood. And it's a broad nib. The ink, Diamine Elf. So after that lackluster start, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this pen because the last thing I want is to find I have to prime the feed every time I use it. Just going to fetch the pen in again so we can see it against the written ink. You know, it looks quite nice, doesn't it? Seeing quite a bit of shading coming through on that ink at the moment. Let's test our drying times. So immediate. Looks quite wet, doesn't it? 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Well, that's dried off a little bit. 1 minute. After a minute, it's still fairly wet. What I'm going to do is leave it for 2 minutes. So after 2 minutes, look at that, it's still wet. So I think as a combo, I won't be using this for much in the way of long form notes. Short notes will be fine, but anything where you need to turn the page, you can't be waiting over 2 minutes between pages, can you? Let's do our writing sample. What I'm going to do is move the mic close to the paper so you can hear the pen write. Let's see if there's any line variation. So this is light pressure and with a little bit more pressure. So there's a tiny bit, but not enough really that you would notice. Just do some scribbles. So the ink flow kept up, so if you're a fast writer, looks like it should be no problem. If we take a look at the writing, I can see a fair bit of shading coming through. It's quite an interesting way that the ink looks. So it seems to be a lot lighter, and then we've got the darker, so we've got darker there in the eye, the X in the eye there. It seems to be on my longer strokes where we're getting more ink put down. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this goes in my longer term testing, but quite pretty, nice and smooth. I don't know if you could hear anything on the mic, but it seemed fairly quiet to me. Wasn't catching. It wasn't glassy smooth, but it was still smooth enough that it was pleasant to use. So what are my first impressions of this pen? I think it looks really nice. It's absolutely amazing to look at. And I'm not sure if the camera does it justice. You know, this way it sparkles and the colours. You've got this gorgeous red. You know, if looking at this red, it really does take me back. If you think about the Wizard of Oz and the ruby slippers, that's what it reminds me of. Then you've got this nice green again with all that sparkle in it. It looks really different. It's certainly going to grab people's attention if you take it out of your bag and put it on a desk in front of you. I was disappointed with the writing. As we see when I started, there was no ink coming out at all. Now, I need to explore this a bit more. It could have been when I cleaned the pen off after filling it. Maybe I accidentally took all the ink out of the channel or something like that. You know, I'm trying to be as open-minded as I can, but it's still going to be something I need to monitor, because if the pen has got ink flow issues, to be honest, it's useless. Once I'd primed the feed, well, then it wrote beautifully. We've got these gorgeous colours. It's such a wet combo. You know, 2 minutes and it's still wet. So as I said then, if you're going to be using this for longer note taking, you need to be really careful, because if you have to wait 2 minutes between pages and then it's still wet, it's really going to disrupt your flow when you're taking notes. So you've either got to be able to take just a single quick note, or you've got to have some blotter paper there to help you with them longer notes. So at least you can use the blotter paper to take up the worst of the excess. But overall, really nice. It feels nice in the hand. As we can see here, you know, it's not short. I think it's just the perfect size and posted. It will post. Not too bad when it's posted. It doesn't feel back heavy, but my tendency anyway is to use pens unposted. So longer term, I need to now look at this issue with it not writing when I started. Hopefully it was that one-off, as I said, but I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll do some longer term notes just so we can see how it goes. So this is my unboxing and first impressions of the Benu Talisman Dragons Blood with Diamine Elf. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you got any Benu pens? What are your thoughts on them? How about other inks? Are there any other inks you could suggest it might be worth me trying in this pen? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit that thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm to surface my videos to other people. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.